So our first race in this programme then is for young drivers from just 8 years of age in the Micromax class. What was a relatively small grid last season has grown, so this year we really are seeing some great action. Let's go straight away then to your race commentator Jake Sanson, who's got the grid rundown.
And what a lineup it's set to be. Jensen Chalk is going to be alongside the pole sitter James Roberts, Katie Donaldson on the second row with Dan Minto, JJ Lowe and Olivia Reynolds from Jack Baker and Jaden Sherwood, Sam Ladiyi and Christian Stefanov rounding out the top 10. But get this, in 15th position behind Kilbasa, Warner, Gruffity and Turacek is the championship leader, Tyler O'Neill. Then it's Sebastian Lusch and Ella Lucia to complete the grid. But Tyler O'Neill has got some work from 15th on the grid. Here we go! Up to the first corner and Katie Donaldson bangs wheels as she tries to get into second position. Dan Minto almost getting through as we go on board with JJ Lowe. Olivia Reynolds trying to work her way through as well. It's going to be very tricky up to Spoon Curve for the first time as Jensen Chalk has lost quite a bit of ground. Olivia Reynolds is going through. Stefanov gets past us as JJ Lowe slots into position down the hill, but a lot of movement on the first lap.
It's an all-action first lap from the 360 camera as usual, and Jensen Chalk, who has won heats 1, 2 and the super heat as well earlier in the day, still wasn't good enough. I think he came 10th in the other heat. So James Roberts has pipped him for the pole position, but that's a bit of a disastrous start for him. He would have expected better than that, hoped for better than that. Certainly, he's down in 5th place as they go across the line.
So James Roberts, the only other race winner this weekend other than Jensen Chalk. He won Heat 3, and now look, he's got a little bit of support from Donaldson and Minto, but can Katie Donaldson get her way through? What a turnaround, I have to say, into the third weekend of the season for Katie Donaldson. She's been there or thereabouts in the first couple of weekends. She's had pace, she's had the ability to move forward, but look at her this weekend. She's got a chance to win the whole thing.
Yeah, she's not had this sort of pace though, has she? She's right up there now and hassling James Roberts. And the way things have worked out this weekend with the points in the bag so far, well, certainly if Roberts wins this race, he would definitely have the championship lead. He could probably afford to lose a few places. And it's Minto that set the fastest lap so far. But what can he do from there? He's got his third place on track, but he is the fastest man on track.
Oh, here we go. Minto on the inside as Katie Donaldson takes the lead. So Roberts is down to third, and Donaldson leads briefly because now Dan Minto gets to the lead of the race. But Katie Donaldson is there in second place. Olivia Reynolds is closing up on them in 4th position. Isn't it amazing? Abby Pulling becomes the queen of karting, winning multiple titles. We waited years for someone as strong as her, and now loads of them have come out of the blocks. You've got Sophie Kinghorn in Junior Road Tax, and now you've got these two, Donaldson and Reynolds, coming forward in Micromax. The floodgates have opened.
Yeah, the girls in karting are just incredible, the amount of quality drivers that we've got now, to be fair. And it was great, by the way, last weekend, see Abby Pulling finishing second and only just by half a second at the Formula 1 meeting in the W Series.
So this is a great battle for Dan Minto now. He's got all the pressure. Donaldson is going to try and take the lead. The door was not quite open enough. She's still trying to open it down the hill. And so Dan Minto holds the advantage from Katie Donaldson down into the hairpin as side by side for 6th. That is JJ Lowe getting through on Christian Stefanov, I do believe. So a great battle with those two. Then there is Olivia Reynolds just tightening in behind James Roberts. Is Dan Minto going to win his first race of the weekend and it be a final? Or is Katie Donaldson going to get the job done? Roberts in 3rd, Chalk is in 5th. Those two are the only ones to have won races so far this weekend. Tyler O'Neill is making good progress. He's made up 5 already, and he's up into P10.
JJ Lowe it is that sets the fastest lap. He's the fastest man on track at the moment. Hasn't got track position, but he is in 6th place, just made up a place on that lap. So good to see JJ. He is a stalwart of the Houghton Park circuit, races there competitively and has done for many seasons, but taking part in UKC this year for the first time.
So if he's a Houghton Park regular, they need to be knocking on the door of Vauxhall for a decent sponsorship deal, don't they? It's only over the road, so you never know. Hopefully that'll come to fruition. James Roberts seizes his opportunity there, down into the compression complex, and that, I'm afraid, is Ella Lucia struggling to move her kart off the racing line, but full credit to her. She didn't just leave it to the marshals. She decided she was going to help them out, get the kart off the racing line.
Oliver Warner sets the fastest lap. Note to all the kids, by the way, Jake, if you're going to lift your kart up, kids, lift it up from the rear, not the front. It's much easier.
Donaldson nearly got the move on Roberts, but she saw the yellow flag just in the nick of time. Now she's able to get the move on Roberts because she passed the yellow flag zone, got through into the position, so nicely done. Now Jensen Chalk is being hustled by JJ Lowe as they come up the hill. And that in front is the 19 of Olivia Reynolds.
Jensen Chalk, as it says there in that little graphic, won heats 1, 2 and the super heat, but he's not having the best super final, is he?
No, indeed, and there goes Oliver Warner, the Ambition Motorsport driver on the charge. Oh, and that's Reynolds getting a little bit out of whack. Through up the inside comes Warner. We've gone off! JJ Lowe spins in the final turn.
I think he was just on the outside of the driver. I think Warner went down the inside. And
wow.
That looks like a karting dad. Not very happy with that one.
Well, let's
have a look at the replay.
Look at the squabble, because you've got Warner.
Well, there's Warner, 2 wheels on the grass. It just comes together and it just collects JJ on the outside. Unlucky for JJ, but listen, he's got to take the positives.
Yep.
This has been a good weekend for JJ Lowe. He's got to take the positives out of it. Ella Lucia is going to get it back going again, Jake.
Yeah, and obviously she's not really... Well, she's going to be a couple of laps down, but essentially this is now an extended test session.
Yeah, I guess so.
Why not?
But JJ's got to take the positives out of the weekend. He'd been having a good run up until that point.
Now there is Tyler O'Neill, look, and he is battling away for 4th position. How much of a move has he made through?
That's
now,
Kevin Kilbasser at the top of the straight, Jake.
Yes,
Looks
indeed.
like he's out of the race.
Yep, so Kilbasser's had a problem as they pass his kart. So that is unfortunate. Kevin Kilbasser was looking to have a very solid run over the course of this weekend.
Look at the lead.
Yeah, that's
what's
massive for Minto.
Here? Minto hasn't won a heat all day. Here he is in the super final, and he's doing what he did at Warden Law in the super final. He's winning by an absolute stretch. This is the battle for 5th. Great battle it is too.
Well, he's just allowed Roberts, Reynolds and O'Neill to have their duel for position. Donaldson has slipped to 6th position in all of that, so there's a lot of shuffling of the deck of cards, and as a result, Minto's just decided, right, well, I'm going to put my foot down and I'm going to check out. He's gone.
Absolutely. This is highly competitive, this class. Katie Donaldson makes a place back. She's back up to 5th. She won't be happy with that. I think in the early stages, she probably thought she was in this to win it. Kev's down in the middle of the track. What's your view on proceedings, Kev?
We're just watching down here trackside at lap 8, and Daniel Minto's class is really starting to show. He got himself out into the lead there, and now that gap, well, it is in evidence. It's about approximately, I think, 2.5 seconds, something like that, but he's out on his own. Behind him, what is it, 2, 4, 6, 8 drivers fighting for the scraps, really. Daniel Minto's just got to keep his head, surely, and he's going to have this one wrapped up with about 4 minutes still to go here trackside.
I think you're right, Kev, and don't call me Shirley. Now, we're going to go through to the first corner and watch Roberts and Reynolds. They are actually starting themselves to pull clear of Chalk, Donaldson, Warner and O'Neill. That's interesting, because Roberts and Reynolds have decided, well, these guys are just going to be at each other's heels till the end, so we need to skate away and secure those 2 positions on the podium. Here comes Katie Donaldson. What a move on Chalk! And has actually used Ella Lucia to box him in. That was smart thinking from Katie Donaldson. Saw the slower kart in front and thought, right, if I edge him to the left side of the circuit and drive around the outside, he's going to have to back out of the throttle. Supreme confidence from Katie Donaldson.
And that is exactly what he had to do. So great driving by Katie.
Oh, what a launch in there. Jensen Chalk dives in at Devil's Elbow, gets the place and picks up a couple of them, and Tyler O'Neill, look.
Going backwards.
Yes, he's dropped to the back of the queue. Meanwhile, out of sight.
Olivia Reynolds is in second, Jake.
Yes,
we missed
indeed.
that.
Yeah,
we were covering that midfield battle there.
So busy focusing on what was going on in the fight for 4th position downwards that Reynolds has managed to sneak up the inside of James Roberts, and now she is looking good for her best result in the UKC.
Absolutely. So we've had Donaldson earlier. She's back in a 4th place. And Olivia Reynolds, who didn't figure in the early running, she's now in 2nd, having a great day, Olivia. And looks like she's pulling away from James Roberts there as well. And that's the championship leader she's pulling away from.
Well, that's going to silence all the mansplainers and gatekeepers, isn't it? That think that women can't drive. They certainly can. And we got 2 of them in the top 5 in Micromax. So this is awesome stuff. Minto, Reynolds, Roberts, Warner, Donaldson and Jensen Chalk. Tyler O'Neill, though, 9th position. He's the championship leader coming into this, but This is what happens when you're in the gaggle. You've got so many competitive drivers to go up against. It is not easy, even if you're the championship leader, even if you've got that confidence from race 1 and 2.
Yep.
These guys are so ultra competitive, they will not give you an inch.
Yeah, it was interesting in the Formula One race at the weekend. It was interesting. I'm not sure whether you picked up on it, Jake. Lewis Hamilton wanted to quit because of where he was, in my view.
Indeed
He wanted to give up. The team obviously wanted him to stay with it. It was about points. And that was really interesting. And that's the attitude you don't want to have. You need an attitude which is, you know what, I'm not doing really well. Let's try and get a point out of it, 2 points, whatever it is. You've got to get the best result you can. And that's what Tyler's got to think. We know Tyler O'Neill is a quality driver and we know the problems with the karts. He's just got to stick with it and get the best result he can.
Still a little bit of racing to go here, and it could still all change hands. On the last lap at Glanagorse, and it's all starting to come around for the drivers in the middle of this gaggle. Christian Stefanov's made the bid on Jensen Chalk and has got through. Minto's still 3 seconds clear of Olivia Reynolds, who is about to take her best ever finish in Micromax at the Ultimate Karting Championship in front of James Roberts. Minto's going to win it at a canter, but this battle in the midfield is not done yet. Katie Donaldson ahead of Stefanov, Chalk and Sherwood, but Dan Minto is going to canter out of the final turn. What a result, what a drive. Dan Minto celebrates. Olivia Reynolds, she is celebrating as if she's won in second place. Brilliant work from Olivia Reynolds.
However, as we'll see from the results, Jake, it's bad news for Olivia. She has got a front fairing penalty that has dropped her down to 9th.
Hard luck for Reynolds, but she proves her point. James Roberts promoted to second. Oliver Warner makes up 9 places to get the podium from Donaldson, Stefanov and Chalk. Sherwood ahead of Tyler O'Neill, who made up 7 on his way to 8th.
Well, he may not have made the podium for round 1, but he's done it in round 2 and he's done it here again for round 3. Well done to Daniel Minto. Just behind him in second and third place was Olivia Reynolds and James Roberts. Let's go and have a chat to all of them on the podium.
Dan, highly disappointing first round for you. I know you'd have been disappointed with your first round. Great round last time for you, and you've sort of repeated the feat, haven't you, this weekend? Another comfortable victory for you.
Yeah.
Good kart setup at Warden Law and here again at Glanagorse Park. Do you think the circuits are similar?
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah. And who do you want to thank for your success?
Kai, my dad, Hunter Morsworth and Reese and Higgins.
Okay, well done.
Thank you.
James, eventful race and an eventful start for you. Just talk us through it.
Yeah, at the start I went through turn 1 and ended up in P2. Going up the straight, I got a boost from someone behind, someone pushed me all the way up the straight, managed to get P1. Led for a couple of laps and dropped down to P3. And it's about middle of the race where I felt a whack on the back of my head. I was like, what was that? Someone like hit me in the head with a car, and then I lost loads of time.
Okay. And you had a lot of problems, I think, at Warden Law with the kart setup, didn't you? You got the best result you could, but
yeah.
what was the difference this weekend? You have all those things sorted?
Yeah, we found out a few things at Warden, which we know what the problems were now. I think we've been quick all through quick all through the weekend this weekend. So yeah.
And who do you want to thank for that?
Right, thank my dad as always on the spanners, my mum always for basically almost everything. From Bradley, Mark, Emma, Chris and Alex.
Okay,
Thank
well
you.
done.
And Tony.
Well done.
Thank you.
Ollie, highly competitive Micromax this season. 3rd place though this weekend. You happy with that?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with it, considering what happened on Saturday. Obviously coming quite far down in 2 heats, but I made it back through and got my head in the finals, and yeah, I'm very happy with it.
That's really important, isn't it? When things aren't going well, what character have you got? Can you come back? You obviously did that, well done. Who's your success down to?
I would like to thank Ambition Motorsport, my mechanic Will, my family for watching, and Sodi Chassis.
Well, what a difference a weekend makes. It's a complete change in the standings in Micromax. James Roberts is now the leader by 7 points ahead of Dan Minto. Jaden Sherwood ahead of Christian Stefanov and former leader Tyler O'Neill. Katie Donaldson is waiting in the wings with Cameron Nelson ahead of Carl McLean, Oliver Warner and that man JJ Lowe. He'll be back for more great action next time.